Hey there, CityCast listeners. Are you ready to make a difference this holiday season? Food and Friends is a beacon of hope right here in DC, providing home-delivered, medically tailored meals and medical nutrition therapy to our neighbors battling cancer, HIV, AIDS, and other serious illnesses. And here's where you come in. Slice of Life, their annual pie sale, is now in its 18th year. The goal is to sell 6,000 pies, helping to provide an incredible 1.9 million meals for our neighbors in need. Better yet, these are not ordinary pies baked by schlubs like me. They are actually made to order by Whisked Bakery, the award-winning woman-owned local bakery. So here's the deal. Do good, feel good, and buy pies. Visit foodandfriends.org to place your order, and let's make this Thanksgiving a little brighter for those in need. That's foodandfriends.org, foodandfriends.org.
Today on CityCast DC. DC is a great art city, even if it doesn't always get the shine it deserves. And once you start paying attention, the variety of options can be a little overwhelming. City Paper's arts editor, Sarah Marloff, is here to recommend 5 productions you need to see this month. Today's Wednesday, November 1st. I'm Bridget Todd, and here's what DC is talking about. Sarah, I feel like DC's art scene never really gets a lot of love. There is a lot to do in DC in terms of arts and culture. As someone who lives and breathes all of this stuff in DC, what do you think is the most underrated part of DC's art scene?
That's such a great question, and it really is underrated. I think I talk about that all the time when I talk about DC's art scene. And I think that I'm probably torn between how underrated our theater scene is. And if you're in the know, our theater scene is not underrated. Like, everyone knows it's amazing in there, but it's such a small niche. But we have a really epic theater scene that has like everything from like Broadway plays that are trying out for the first time here before they go to Broadway to like small, very local, like grassroots productions. And all of them are doing really unique things and just doing some fun stuff. And I also think that our music scene is really good, but that gets some love. But
what musical performances should folks have on their radar to be checking out in DC?
Absolutely. So fall is just out of control with events. You could probably fill your calendar with an arts event every night. One of the ones that stood out to me was Grounded, which is a opera. It's being put on at the Kennedy Center, commissioned by the Washington National Opera, co-produced with the Metropolitan Opera in New York. So as we said in our Fall Arts Guide that came out in September, the artistic director for the National Opera, I think that she's really trying to attract like younger audiences. Like, when you think of an opera audience, you're thinking a very specific set of people. Mm-hmm. It's a little older, it's a little whiter. So Grounded, I think, has a very interesting plot idea. It follows a woman who is a F-16 fighter pilot who's effectively grounded because she becomes pregnant. She's put on drone warfare, like dropping drones on people thousands of miles away. And it goes into like her mental state of how drone warfare is really icky. That's my words, not theirs. And I think that the whole point is to really be like, what are you thinking of? And what does drone warfare like do to all of us and like the people who are literally enacting it?
Yeah, I see what you mean about an opera that might invite a little bit different of an audience with just a different perspective and a different thematic nature than maybe you might think of when you think of opera. Like, I've never been to the opera, but that's not what I would think if I was going to an opera.
Right. And I think it's a little bit more intriguing, and I think it speaks to a younger generation.
So moving on to something a bit lighter, can you give me one comedy show that folks should be sure to check out this November?
Yes, I'm so excited about this one. Sabrina Wu is coming to DC Improv for 5 shows over November 17th through November 19th. If you don't know who Sabrina Wu is, they recently made it onto Vulture's annual 25 Comedians You Should Know list. Sabrina Wu played Deadeye in Joyride, which came out this summer and had this amazing cast and was just like raunchy, and also like I cried in it at one point. Like,
Yeah, if folks have not seen Joyride, check out Joyride. I think it's on Netflix.
yes,
10 out of 10 recommend.
it is so worth it. The entire cast is stellar, and Wu is just amazing in it. I will follow Sabrina Wu forever now after Joyride.
A Sabrina Wu devotee.
Yes.
Okay, so what about film?
I think the one that I am probably the most excited by, because it's so DC, but also like so cool to me. It's called Double Exposure Film Festival. It starts on November 2nd and runs through the 5th. And most of it takes place at MLK Library. And it's the first and only film festival in the US that's dedicated to investigative reporting on film. So you're watching a lot of docs, and I think like one of the ones that caught my eye is on Louis C.K. and the fallout of Me Too, which I was automatically like, I need to buy tickets for this right now. And just gives you a real inside look at investigative reporting and documentary filmmaking and like the overlap of those two things. And I don't think it's as niche as it sounds. I think it's very like, don't we all wonder how these things get made and how you find out about this? Am I talking like a journalist?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm a big documentary person. It's like my favorite way to spend time is watching a bunch of documentaries. And
Awesome.
that's one thing that folks should know, is that it's not as niche or as dry as it sounds. When you look at some of the different films they have offered, films like the documentary Sorry Not Sorry that explores Louis C.K. That you mentioned, or a documentary about the impact of things like deep fakes, the documentary Another Body, which I actually just saw, the range of topics is a lot more accessible and human than you might think.
Exactly. I think you're just getting people who are doing just some really amazing work. It's also, you know, some people want to read a 4,000 word like investigative journalism piece on ProPublica. I hope that you do. They're great. But maybe this is an easier way to like get involved and get interested and learn more about something you've been intrigued by.
Yes. I am the second category that you just mentioned. I want to have this explained to me with like an empty chair and then like someone sitting down and getting mic'd with an establishing shot. I'm in. That's how I want this unfolded for me.
I think that's perfect. Then you should definitely get tickets to this.
Speed into success. Learn French. Much like a high-speed train, Alliance Francaise immersive French language classes propel you toward fluency. Unlock a world of personal and professional possibilities when you become a member and learn French at our renowned Alliance Francaise chapter in DC. Tradition and modernity intertwine, offering you an unparalleled learning experience that includes language classes, cultural events, and the only lone library in French language in the Mid-Atlantic region. Embrace the language that bridges cultures and enriches your resume. Enroll today. The winter session starts on November 29th. All ages and levels welcome. If you sign up by November 3rd, you get a $20 discount off the tuition fee. Find us at francedc.org. Okay, so what about museums?
Okay, you can spend a long time doing museum stuff. I know recently you all spoke about like the reopening of the National Women's Museum in the Arts. So great. There are a million great small galleries, but I'm gonna talk about Simone Lee at the Hirshhorn. So Simone Lee is basically a celebrity in the arts world at this point. Her work really explores a whole bunch of different mediums, from like ceramic and bronze to video, which is always really interesting to see how artists evolve. And this show at the Hirshhorn that opens on November 3rd will be a comprehensive survey of her work, which will span 2 decades of someone who's basically, again, called a celebrity, and her work is constantly evolving, but has also always kept this idea of looking at and trying to dig into the idea of Black femme subjectivity. There just hasn't been enough art shows on that, and to see it, like, these are the names we want in our major institutions. The Hirshhorn always brings in amazing artworks, but I think that this one will be just really, like, jaw-droppingly awesome.
And I think it goes back to what you were saying. I definitely see a thread through a lot of the exhibits and things that you've given us of maybe highlighting voices and stories and perspectives that are not always represented so much.
That's funny you would pick that up. I have no idea where that comes from. And it's definitely not my goal in life.
Something tells me you had more to do with that than you were letting on.
Maybe a little.
You mentioned when we started that one of the maybe in some ways overlooked art things that DC offers is our theater scene, specifically that plays will have Broadway runs and be big deals and then come here. Is there anything like that we have to look forward to?
Yeah. So Fat Ham is coming to Studio Theater, and it's already open. It opened on October 25th, and it's going to be on stage for at least all of November. And this play, as one of my writers who's an amazing theater critic and just a great writer, Chris Klimek, wrote in a piece about the playwright that Fat Ham is basically a queerer, blacker, less blood-soaked remix of Hamlet that earned its author the Pulitzer Prize for Drama in 2022. It was nominated for 5 Tonys, sadly didn't win any of them, but it's supposed to just be this amazing play that reimagines Hamlet as a Black queer kid and sets the scene in a backyard family barbecue in North Carolina. This play was such a huge deal on Broadway, and there are so many good plays coming, but this is one that really again stands out and maybe again also speaks to the times we're in of giving voice to Black queers. We're starting to see more and more on stage, but it's very new, and I'm very excited about that.
I'm excited too. I'm so glad that you brought it up. You will definitely catch me at Fat Ham. I tried to go when it was on Broadway, did not work out. I'm seeing it when it's in DC. I will not miss it. I'm very excited.
100%. So excited.
All right, picture this. You are at the airport or strolling through the grocery store, and suddenly there they are, someone who seems tailor-made for you. You know that feeling, right? The instant connection you can't ignore, but then they leave. Another missed connection? Not with Never Missed, a new dating app that turns those chance encounters into unforgettable beginnings. It's simple. Download the Never Missed app for free right now on the App Store or Google Play. In just moments, you will be ready to transform fleeting glances into lasting connections. Download the Never Missed app and make your story of how you met an unforgettable chapter in your journey.
What if we told you that this could be a great time to save on a new home? The Arbor at Tacoma is situated for your most convenient urban lifestyle and is now offering 2.5% credit to use to buy down your interest rate below market rates or pay a portion of your closing costs on your brand new home. The kitchens feature striking dark navy and white cabinetry with champagne bronze hardware, and throughout the residence you'll find wood plank flooring and smart home technology. Select homes even feature a private outdoor space. Perfect whether you want to enjoy the vibrant Tacoma, DC community or comfortably retreat into a sleek sanctuary all your own. With a quick walk to the metro, the city is all yours. Or stay close and enjoy the on-site retail. Located at 218 Cedar Street Northwest, the Arbor Tacoma offers brand new 1- and 2-bedroom condos starting in the upper 300,000s. Visit thearborliving.com or contact our sales managers for more information. Our 2.5% credit is only available for a limited time. Again, visit thearborliving.com for details. Sarah, you've given us so many good things to do, but let's say somebody wants to be more engaged in DC's art and culture scene, but they're overwhelmed. Where's a good place to start if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're just getting into DC's arts and culture scene?
Well, I will absolutely plug Washington City Paper. Since becoming arts editor about 2 years ago, my goal has been to basically just make our art scene feel more accessible to everyone. You go online, you find out who are the local bands I need to see? What are the plays that are happening? Go to WashingtonCityPaper.com, click on arts, and if you are so overwhelmed, pick a category. We run it through music, theater, film. You can narrow it down to where you're comfortable. You can also get our City Lights newsletter, which comes out every Thursday and Sunday. And you can sign up for that on our website as well. And that will have 200-word blurbs. We just try to get a lot of fun stuff in there. And we actually work very hard to not run anything that's sold out. So by the time that comes out on Thursday, you could be oh, I want to go to that on Sunday and get tickets. So I think that's a great place to start. And if you're willing to sacrifice your inbox, which, let's be real, we already get too many emails a day. So what's a few more? Sign up for some newsletters from venues you like. Like you've been to 930 Club, get on their email list, get on Studio Theater's email list. I really recommend getting on Woolly Mammoth's theater list. They do great work. It's just a really great place to get a lot of that in. So
That's a great tip, Sarah. Thanks so much for being here.
oh my God, thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
That's all for today here on CityCast DC. If you enjoyed the show, obviously share it with your favorite art lover. We'll be back tomorrow morning with even more news from around the city. Talk to you then.